Welcome back to another episode of the Close Smarter Academy. Being that this is the first day of December, I wanted to have some fun with this leading up to Christmas, and we're going to do the 25 days of Christmas. So we're going to start where you should start at the beginning. So, episode number one for this 25-day stretch will all be about the beginning of the call with our sellers and why sellers don't trust you yet. Let's go over a couple of reasons why they may not trust you right out of the gate, right? It's because maybe they've talked to 10 other wholesalers and they've felt pressure on each call, or they sound robotic when they're on the calls, and all they're after is the marriage. They're after the close. That's all they're looking for. When they talk to you, they want somebody that's going to take charge, take charge of the conversation, right? And that's what we're here for. They don't know what your agenda is. They don't know what your intentions are yet. You haven't told them, and they haven't told you what their situation is. Maybe they've been burned before, where it's not even the fear of the conversation, but they've had experiences with wholesalers where they walked away from contracts. I mean, these things happen. So we have to prepare for it. This is why we're doing this. This is why we're getting better on a daily basis. So most importantly, they're waiting to see what you say, and how you open the phone call is extremely important. This sets the tone for the rest of the conversation. I'll back up for a second and let me bring it back to, my past life in the firehouse. If we were in the firehouse and we are pulling up to a house fire, and every time I got off the truck, whether it be a house fire or a car accident, I ran out of the truck as fast as possible, started running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Say, oh my God, the house is on fire. Oh my God, the house is on fire. Or, oh my God, there's an accident. There's an accident. Yes, we went there to see the house fire. We went there to see the accident. We're there to help. There was a quote, and I'm going to murder it, but there was a quote by an FDNY chief, I want to say, from a while back. And it said he mirrored this with firefighters getting off the truck, being all crazy, because some do. They get off the truck and they're all excited and adrenaline's pumping. And he said it's the equivalent of a trash man turning the corner and seeing a bunch of trash cans up the block and going crazy and saying, oh my God, there's trash in the street. Like, it's there. This is part of our job. If you haven't been um, part of an atmosphere like that, first responder, it may not make sense because it is a scary situation in some cases, but this is what we train for, right? And there's really no difference in sales. Same as when we pull up to a scene and gather our thoughts and collect how we're going to handle this situation. Like at a house fire, let's say we pull up to a house fire. The one thing that we do, especially as an officer, is get off the truck and do a 360 of the house. You might see flames, you might see smoke. You don't know how much. You don't know how much the house is on fire. Is it the first floor? Is it the second floor? Is it both? Did it get through the roof yet? Is it breaking through the windows in the back of the house because you pulled up in the front? You don't know. So you take that minute walk or however long it takes you to do the 360 and you collect your thoughts. What are we going to do here? Am I going to send my guys into this? Is it worth risking, health or safety? Is there anybody trapped inside? Is there anything that we have to worry about obstacle wise inside the house, outside the house, in the yard? Are there power lines there? These are all things that are going through our heads, but you have to take that collective moment and realize the situation and then make a plan for it. This is exactly how I approach sales. When we get on the call, the first thing I want to do, just like I would direct my guys on the scene, is get on the phone with the seller and Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Thanks for taking my call. If you called them, if they called you, we want to get an idea. We want to get an idea from them. What is the perfect phone call for them? And I'll tell you, I'll put it on the table first and say the perfect phone call for me is, right? Say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thanks for taking my call. I was reaching out because it looks like maybe you filled out a form on our site for, interest in selling 123 Main Street. It's awesome. Really what I want to do on this first phone call is get an idea of kind of what had you reach out to us in the first place. Let's start there. It's pretty open-ended. They're going to reach out to you and, want you to just make an offer. In some cases, they'll say, well, what do you think my house is worth? I got this postcard in the mail. I filled out the form because it said I can get a free quote for my house or a free estimate on my house. Let's slow that down. Let's find out why they reached out to you in the first place to be able to help them correctly, because you can't solve a problem you don't know exists. So that's what we're after. What is the problem that exists? What is it you want me to solve for you today? And let's start with what made you reach out, and then let them answer that question, because they can go a number of directions with that. They may tell you a little bit about the house. That's great. Let them talk. They may tell you that they've had this house for a while and they just can't take care of it anymore. It's great. Let them talk. It's just gonna it's gonna set up the conversation for us to know what our next set of questions is going to be. Because if they start going into more of the personal realm, and I can't take care of the house anymore, it was inherited and I have siblings involved in it, and or maybe there was a death in the family and I can't do this or I can't do that or I won't do that and I live in a different state, whatever that is, we're not going to come back and say, well, great, how many windows does it have and do you think they need replaced? It wouldn't make any sense, right? That sounds stupid. So we want to approach the conversation based on the answers to the next question we ask to make sense. So these are the kinds of questions we're going to approach with, right? Set the expectations for the rest of the call. This is how the call is going to go. This is my idea of a perfect phone call, is just get a better understanding of why you're reaching out today. And you could even ask a follow-up question to that. And they say, okay, you say, well, what makes this a perfect call for you, right? Ask that in your own way. If at the end of this call, it sounds like we're going to move forward and kind of talk about maybe a purchase of this house, like where would you want to end this call today and feel like this was a success? And let them ask that. I guarantee not many people are asking questions like that. So they're going to pause for a second. And then you automatically become that person of authority. You know what you're talking about. You set a good expectation. You're not like everybody else that's just here to take advantage, because I mean, that's the stigma out there, is we're there to take advantage of them. So that's not what we want to create. We want to come in as the voice of authority, because that's what we are, right? We're the authority in this space. This is why they're reaching out to you. This is why you reach out to a police officer when you need a police officer. This is why you reach out to an EMT when you need an EMT. They're the authority voice of that situation. So same here in real estate investing, right? If they have a house to sell off market and they're not either willing or not thinking about going through a realtor first, this is your spot. You are the authority there. So this is the motto of today. Day one is the gift of clarity, let's call it, in the Christmas spirit. Fear, how is the saying? Fear blocks trust, right? And trust opens up the call. As soon as they trust you, you got to know, like, and trust. That's the old sayings in sales, right? Once they know, like, and trust you, they're going to buy from you, or in our case, they're going to sell to you. So we want to set that example. We want them to start getting used to talking to us about the situation rather than just getting to the price as fast as possible. So that should start a good baseline to the call. Day two, we're going to go further into it. So make sure you stay tuned to that. A couple of homework items here. I put this QR code up. If you're on Spotify or any of the podcast things, you won't be able to see it. But if you get on my YouTube channel, it's same name. If you go to Close Smarter on YouTube and you scan this QR, I'm giving away a free mini series. I believe it's 9 or 10 different videos on there. They're like 2 or 3 minutes a piece, and it takes you all the way through the call. But there's going to be this isn't just going to be about the phone call for these 25 days. We're going to mix it up, have some fun. I'll have some giveaways, and we'll take this right into Christmas. So let's have some fun with it. That's day one. Anything else you need is at wintheclose.com. And until tomorrow, have a good night.